there's a respect for each other before it begins, because we are formidable, right? Mm-hmm. And so there is that, I think, moment before it starts, which I think is different from the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Guys, it is an absolute honor to see you again. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, Jake, how are you?
Hi, Jake.
I'm doing so well. I'm going to jump into this. One of the first things I actually thought when watching this movie was, thank God this family is actually interesting, because otherwise it would be really boring for this presence just following around a family. It would suck if nothing were going on at all. You have both played some truly amazing characters in your career. Which one would be the most interesting if you were a presence to be able to follow around and watch all day?
Oh, geez.
Oh, what do you think?
If I was a presence and I got to follow Taserface around, that would probably be good. That would probably make for interesting.
That sounds like a 10-episode Disney Plus series in the making.
Like Taserface making breakfast, Taserface going to the DMV, whatever. Yeah.
That was.
It's all gold.
Very interesting.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Lucy, what about you?
Let me think. I mean, I think O-Ren would be kind of an interesting presence.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing when she cuts the guy's head off and says that it gives her a speech. The presence just slowly backing away.
I feel like her presence would push forward.
The big twist in that one would be that it would be O-Ren following O-Ren. That would be the big reveal. Was like, she's haunting herself.
She's haunting herself.
I'm saying this is all martial arts right now. This is gold we're giving people. This is a nerdy question, but I've always sort of heard this theory, this idea that an actor's job is normally to ignore the camera and pretend it's not there. When the camera is a character, do you still have that luxury? Like, I know, and your character is not really necessarily interacting with the presence, slowly begins to realize it's there. But what is the difference between your relationship with the camera on a movie like this versus the relationship you've had with the camera in every other project you've ever done?
I think that this one was quite invisible, oddly. Yeah. I mean, even though Stephen was right there, because of the intimate environment and the family dysfunction, that dynamic, it was so small.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually there's like a tripod and there's a track and
10 people.
And lights and tungsten, like beaming down. None of that was there. It was all lit the way it was lit, and there was no. You almost felt like you were just on a stage.
Yeah. It was Stephen and a sound guy trying to stay behind Stephen, mm-hmm. and so they disappeared after a while. They really became a ghost.
Did.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm going to try to squeeze in one more really nerdy question, if you don't mind. Lucy, I actually host a series here in Chicago called The Moments That Made Us. And I look back at the most iconic movie moments of all time with the people that were a part of them. You mentioned O-Ren, and I was wondering, I've never gotten to ask you about this. I've always wanted to ask you about the showdown at the House of Blue Leaves. And I would just love to know your memory of shooting that sequence and sort of, 20 plus years later, what that experience was like for you.
I really remember the sound of that water fountain, the bamboo sound, and the kind of was acted as a metronome for the whole scene. And the snow was this kind of like styrofoam. I think it was toxic because everyone else was wearing masks except for me and Uma. And then there used to be a rabbit that would hang around the set, and that rabbit died.
Oh dear.
So I was like, there's a lot here that needs to be unpacked.
Yeah.
But that moment of quiet, especially, when you see the movie, there's all this like insanity before she gets to that space. And then from that chaos to this quiet sound of the fountain and that moment of the two of them, because in Westerns, you generally see men, right? You don't really see women having that slow sundown kind of moment with each other. And it was, if you look at it, I haven't seen it in decades, but in my mind when we were shooting it, I just remember how specific everything was. It's quite a dance, right? There's not a lot of movement. And when it happens, like when I say happens, when we actually start to move, right? The ceremony of removing the shoes, like there's a respect for each other before it begins, because we are formidable, right? Mm-hmm. And so there is that, I think, moment before it starts, which I think is different from the good, the bad, and the ugly, mm-hmm. right? And I like that. It's like we're both, gonna die by the sword somehow, but we have respect for each other, mm-hmm. even though, there was a lot of betrayal in between.
Yeah.
Legend. I just got chills. I just got freaking chills. Oh my God. I love you guys so much. Thank you for geeking out with me today. I know you have a long day, so your time really does mean a lot to me. Thanks you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Enjoy
Take care.
Chicago.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.